3, 2, 1. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
247 launches. That's how many launches SpaceX has completed to date. And it's one of the private companies that I know we are all watching closely.
That's right. Private companies play a vital role in the global economy, introducing competition, creating jobs, and revolutionizing our lives, like TikTok, OpenAI, and SpaceX.
Sure, and from the outside, it seems like they're doing just fine, but it can be even tougher with companies that aren't so highlighted in the media. How do you know if a private company is doing well when you don't have access to financial data that public companies are required to disclose?
So, for those asking how to analyze a private company, we've got you covered. We're going to cover a step-by-step guide we use for examining private company.
So the next time an old college friend approaches you with that pitch deck for an angel investment, you'll know where to begin. So stay tuned.
Hey, I'm Bertrand, founder of App Economy Insights.
And I'm Stephanie, tech industry veteran, engineer, and creator. The rise of equity crowdfunding platforms like Kickstarter, Republic, Microventures, AngelList, and EquityBee offer more opportunities than ever to invest in startups and private companies.
However, assessing the success of private companies can be challenging as they are not obligated to share financial information regularly.
Understanding a company's stage, whether it's just starting, has product market fit, or is in the growth stage, is crucial when evaluating its potential.
Regardless of the stage, this approach can help you identify where to focus your research.
This analysis can also be applied to public companies, examining elements like founding story, product, market, competition, business model, traction, valuation, key opportunities, and risks to develop an informed thesis.
So let's walk through this process using SpaceX as an example that you all know.
All right, let's start with the founder's story. If founders are involved still, it's key to check their resilience. How personal is their connection to the problem they're solving? And do they have a backup plan if things go south?
Next up, integrity check. Are they honest about their failures and open to seeking advice? Have they done this startup thing before? And are they repeat founders?
You also want to look at their business prowess. Are they skilled storytellers who can raise cash and bring top talent on board? Can they sell their product? Can they build relationships? And do they have domain expertise? And what's their personal moat?
All right, let's blast off with SpaceX. Elon Musk, the space pioneer, took inspiration from Isaac Asimov's Foundation series. He embarked on a journey to safeguard humanity's future and shrink the dark ages.
In 2002, with capital from his previous ventures, Zip2 and PayPal, Musk set out to capture the public's imagination about space travel. Rocket buying in Russia didn't really quite work out for him, so he decided to build his own rocket with his partners.
But here is the challenge. He needed a government partnership. NASA hadn't sent humans to space since 2011 due to those steep costs. So SpaceX came in to propose a lower cost barrier and open up space access.
Musk then brought in Gwynne Shotwell, who helped SpaceX score vital contracts and launch their payload to the International Space Station, ISS, in 2006.
From there, you can see grit, adaptability, and a knack for assembling the dream team. SpaceX's journey shows how a bold vision and the right players can reach the stars, quite literally.
All right, let's talk about the product, the heart and soul of a company. Like, what problem does it solve? And is it crystal clear?
SpaceX has an epic vision to send humans to Mars, but they've built their way up step by step. First, they nailed the launch vehicles and capsules to transport cargo and astronauts to space.
Their secret sauce? Reliability at a low cost. Falcon 1, their debut rocket, cost just 1/3 of the 1980s space shuttle for the same payload. As they kept launching, upgrading, and reusing rockets, costs kept dropping.
Falcon 9 swooped in as their star player, thanks to its game-changing reusability. Over 130 launches since 2010 proved it's the real deal, attracting more investors.
But it gets better. Falcon Heavy is gearing up to be a powerful yet cost-effective rocket, and Starship is proving to be the ultimate ticket for Moon and Mars missions. and now Dragon is the first commercial craft to dock with the ISS.
And finally, SpaceX offers broadband internet with Starlink's use of 2,200 satellites.
Before we dive into how to analyze Starlink's market, if you like our videos and want us to keep this up, hit that subscribe and notification button. By doing so, you'll get instant access to our weekly videos as they're released, and every time we get a new sub, both of us stop everything we're doing and we do a little dance. Yeah, at least I do. While SpaceX has covered a lot of ground, space, over the last couple decades, it's important to look at the company's playground or market. So let's see what SpaceX has covered in its cosmic journey.
First up, what industry do they serve and how does it operate?
Are they building in a brand new market or an empty market? While it's not impossible to develop in new markets, it can be a safer bet if they address a gap in an existing market and differentiate in other ways.
The space market includes weather instruments, television, the internet, GPS, and other satellite technologies, which was all estimated to be $366 billion in 2019.
SpaceX operates in several markets. First, launch and space delivery, then you have internet and space tourism.
So first we have launch and space delivery, which covers serving private companies, military agencies, and government projects. The launch market is growing, projected to reach $32 billion by 2027.
All right, next, internet. Starlink's internet offering serves remote customers in need of reliable internet access, and they aim for 40 million subscribers, shooting for $30 billion in revenue by 2025. The global market for internet service providers is enormous and is estimated to be almost $390 billion in 2021.
Lastly, we have space tourism, the most challenging market for SpaceX, likely limited to high net worth individuals for now, but it's an exciting frontier to explore.
Next up, a crucial aspect, competition.
Consider the market saturation and the potential for building a moat. Also, keep an eye on emerging trends, regulations, or integrations that could challenge their current advantage.
In the space industry, there are only a few players equipped to compete on SpaceX's level. Key rivals include Blue Origin and United Launch Alliance, or ULA.
Noteworthy is the limited pool of contractors like SpaceX and Blue Origin eligible for significant military and public sector contracts, such as those with NASA. Stringent requirements narrow down the field.
Before SpaceX's successful launches, Boeing and Lockheed Martin held a duopoly through their joint venture, ULA. However, ULA openly admitted that they couldn't even match SpaceX's cost competitiveness.
Therein lies SpaceX's competitive edge, its cost efficiency. A significant factor enabling this low-cost competition was NASA's shift to a fixed-price contracting program in the 2000s. Compared to traditional cost-plus contracts, SpaceX saved significantly in developing Falcon 9 under a fixed-price model.
And additionally, SpaceX has held a monopoly over NASA's contracts for human spaceflight to the ISS since 2022. These contracts, like the $3.5 billion deal in February 2022, reflect NASA's continued investment in the private sector.
The combination of cost advantages and securing substantial NASA contracts positions SpaceX as a formidable competitor in the space industry.
Time to dive into the business model. This is critical to understanding revenue sources and growth opportunities.
Look for sustainability and scalability. Can they adapt to market changes and economic challenges?
SpaceX's business model is multifaceted, with revenue streams from space exploration contracts and Starlink subscriptions. But let's zoom in on what makes them profitable and scalable: reusability, cost efficiency, and vertical integration.
Well, reusability is key. By building reusable rockets, SpaceX slashes launch costs, saving millions with each reused Falcon 9 launch. It's a win for their overall profitability.
Cost efficiency is their forte. Reliability doesn't need to come in at exorbitant prices. SpaceX proves that with a reliable, cost-effective rocket, a bit like a reliable Honda compared to a flashy Ferrari.
They've got vertical integration too. In-house production means fewer transaction costs and the benefit of economies of scale.
And the virtuous cycle doesn't stop there. Starlink enjoys similar economies of scale, reducing satellite launch costs and boosting overall economics.
So let's dive into traction, a crucial factor in any company's success. Is the company gaining traction with customers? Are people loving and using their product, and is demand steadily rising?
SpaceX went from just 2 launches of Falcon launch products in 2012 to a whopping 60 in 2022. And they've also shared their revenue too, soaring from $120 million in 2012 to now expecting to bring in about $8 billion in 2023.
And SpaceX's relationship with NASA and the US military has only strengthened over time. Their successful astronaut launches have built trust in the company's reliability and capabilities.
And let's not forget about Starlink. Their subscriber base shot up from 400,000 in May 2022 to a staggering 1.5 million in May 2023, a massive leap fueled by lower service costs in select countries like Brazil and Chile.
And SpaceX's reputation as an ambitious platform has attracted top-notch talent like a magnet. Engineers, rocket scientists, and physicists are flocking to the company, making it one of the most desirable choices for engineering students.
All right, let's dive into the key opportunities and risks. It's vital to assess both the potential tailwinds and headwinds a company might encounter and how well they're positioned to leverage opportunities and handle risks.
Let's start with opportunities. Starlink presents substantial growth potential for SpaceX. With millions of subscribers, their annual revenue could soar. As they launch more satellites, internet coverage and speed will improve, making Starlink a profitable venture.
Another key opportunity lies in SpaceX's cost efficiency, especially with their reusable Starship launch system. This innovation could significantly reduce launch costs to $200 per kilogram or lower, giving them a competitive edge in the market.
Now, let's discuss the key risks they need to address. Balancing vision and business is a critical challenge for SpaceX. While pursuing ambitious projects like Starlink and space tourism, they must ensure sustainable business performance and avoid distractions from their core vision.
Space debris is also another concerning risk. The increasing amount of space junk just poses a threat to space companies, potentially damaging satellites and exacerbating the debris problem.
Additionally, geopolitical instability could impact space companies like SpaceX. Tensions between major players like the US, Russia, and China could create uncertainties in the industry.
Let's talk about valuation, an important aspect to consider when analyzing a company's financial health. Depending on the size of the company, there may be valuation numbers that you can find, like how much capital have they raised, what valuations at each round, and how fast has that valuation grown, and finally, how does it compare to competitors?
SpaceX's valuation journey is quite impressive. Since its first capital raise in 2002, they've secured over $9 billion in funding, propelling their current valuation to about $140 billion.
Comparing valuations can be pretty eye-opening too. With revenue of approximately $4 billion in 2022, SpaceX's estimated revenue multiple stands at around 35 times based on its July 2023 valuation. However, this is relatively lower compared to competitors like Virgin Galactic, which boasts a revenue multiple of approximately 330x.
The driving force behind SpaceX valuation seems to be the promising Starlink project. With its low variable cost, Starlink presents substantial revenue potential. If they achieve their ambitious goal of reaching 40 million subscribers by 2025, Starlink's ARR could soar past $50 billion, providing strong justification for their $140 billion valuation.
Overall, the valuation numbers reflect investors' expectations, especially regarding Starlink's success and SpaceX's remarkable ability to raise significant capital to fund its ambitious ventures.
Now, it's time to develop a thesis. Does the future look bright, and what does that future success depend on?
SpaceX's journey is nothing short of remarkable. They've achieved a leading position in the space industry by breaking through an entrenched duopoly and showcasing their prowess in execution and engineering.
Beyond that, Starlink emerges as a key player in SpaceX profitability. Their vertical integration, focus on rocket reuse, and commitment to sustainability are strategic moves.
So to sustain their trajectory, SpaceX must maintain their cost efficiency, a core strength that enables them to stay ahead of the competition. Attracting and retaining top talent will also be crucial in pushing their ambitious projects forward.
Ultimately, the transformation of Starlink into a profitable venture will be a key driver for SpaceX's continued growth and success. The potential for millions of subscribers and significant revenue presents an exciting prospect for the company.
All right, now you're probably asking where you find all this information. One of the best resources that we've found on private company research, and where much of what we talked about today, is from Contrary Research, which is a part of the venture capital firm Contrary.
And that's a good place to start. VCs are required to do in-depth research on emerging markets and trends to stay competitive, and they often share their results online. Check out articles and blogs from VCs like Contrary or Sequoia Capital or A16Z.
You can also find valuation and funding history on sites like Crunchbase.
Now that you're armed with how to analyze private companies, the best thing you can do is take a look at our video on disruptive innovation and how companies like Apple and Tesla have managed to fend off competition over the years. So see you right there.